Welcome to Meg Talks, the Move with Meg podcast. I'm Megan Kerrigan, and I will be sharing ideas on how you can become a more consistent and confident dancer that understands your body and mind. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Meg Talks, the Irish dancing podcast where we talk all things Irish dance movement, mindset, community, everything we can think of that we sort of needed when we were where you are now. Well, providing you're a dancer and not a parent, because we haven't been those, have we, Annabelle?
Not yet.
Not yet. So, as you can tell, Annabelle is here with me, so we must be doing a Mindset Matters. It is part 16. We've done 16 of these, and today we're going to be talking about goal setting, and not just setting the goals, but checking in with them, tracking your progress, and sort of the magic and the importance that sort of comes with that. Well, the importance of it and the magic that brings, I suppose, is a better way to say it. So goal setting wise, we obviously set goals for this business. Do you set personal goals?
Yeah. Set personal goals.
Personal goals. Did you set goals when you were dancing?
Yes.
Yeah, set goals when you were dancing. Do you set them differently to how you coach dancers to set them now?
Yes.
Yes. And we'll get into the reasons of that, because we've obviously learned through our experiences and through our qualifications and things like that how to sort of help dancers to do it in a more effective way, I suppose. Yeah, a better way. We talk a lot about the setting goals side of things, but I think the key thing that people miss is like that setting the goals is the easy bit. Like checking in with them, the being real with yourself, the being honest with yourself when there might have been barriers or hurdles or things that you have put in place that have hindered you from reaching goals. But so like the actual tracking is the part that really makes the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, the setting of the goals is like the fun part.
Yeah.
You know, that's the bit where everyone gets super motivated and excited, and you know that feeling yourself when you feel like you can conquer the world. I don't know about you. Yeah, like when I remember growing up, and then it'd be like 10 o'clock on a Tuesday like night, and I'd be like, right, that's it, like super motivated, and I'm gonna conquer the world. I'm gonna do this, that, and the other. Great feeling normally comes at inopportune times. But like that's how dancers get when we set the goals and they get really excited. It's keeping the consistency and the tracking throughout the rest of the month. That's the bit that sometimes it's the downfall.
Yeah, and the bit that's
The hard bit.
yeah, and easier to forget rather than to actually follow through and keep going. So like we're going to talk a little bit today about like the mindset behind that, and then maybe the reasons how that's going to actually help you, and give you a few tools and tips and things you can take away to set your goals and track them consistently so that you can see progress. In terms of like dancers that join your goal setting in the Gold Club monthly, do you have those dancers that are always there kind of thing?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we have a few
Yeah.
regulars. As the Gold Club is growing, obviously, each month there's new names, which is really nice to see. Because if they can't make Thursday Mindset live, they might pop off and they're like, "Oh, you have a new name." So yeah, we do have our regulars. Normally, as well, it depends when it is. So normally, it's the first Monday of every month. If for some other reason we can't do that, it does swap to Tuesdays or Wednesdays. And then sometimes you'll get different dancers if the day is swapped or the time swapped as well. So yeah, we do have quite a few regulars, but then also people that pop in and out kind of thing.
Yeah, and the great thing about it is, even if you can't make it live, it still applies to you. So you can watch it back and just do it in your own time, which is the value in it, isn't it? Obviously, it's nicer and the energy is better if you can turn up live, because you can bounce those ideas forwards and backwards with yourself and with the other dancers. But if you can't turn up live, then everything is also uploaded and you can go in and watch it back,
Yeah,
which is wicked.
like I'm guiding the dancers through, a formula or a system of like certain questions. So, that guidance is still there, whether you watch it 3 hours later or 3 days later, or whether you watch it live.
Yeah, exactly. And of the dancers that you sort of see consistently turn up, have you noticed that the ones that like track their progress and sort of check in and stuff like that are the ones that reach their goals faster?
Yeah, I would say so. It's nice as well because you see their goals change as they achieve something. They then, change that goal because they've hit that milestone and it becomes, something else or something like another higher level. Or they're like, oh yeah, I think I've finally mastered that turnout now. My teachers aren't saying it anymore. I'm not getting the comments from judges. And then they move on to something else. So it's nice to see that progress.
Mhm.
And I always make a note of what the dancers say they're going to do or what their goal is. And we keep track then of like, well, this is what you said last month. How are you getting on with that? And there's sometimes things that they haven't even really
Remember.
thought of or remembered. And I'm like, oh, wait there, this is what you said. So it's good because they've got a track of it, but also I've got a track of maybe some things they're even saying that they don't even take note that like they've said it. And I'm like, you said this last month. They're like, did I? I'm like, yeah, I wrote it down word for word. You
Yeah.
absolutely did. So that's really nice as well.
Yeah, and things like that, like, are kind of that's the little bit where you go, "Oh my gosh, that wasn't, like, my really big goal. I said that I'd like to do that," and you're sort of highlighting to them that they've done something and achieved something, even if they hadn't written it down as their main goal for that month, and maybe they've missed their main goal for that month and they didn't reach that. You're there to sort of highlight to them, "Yeah, but you did do this, and you said that you wanted this, and you have reached that," and seeing that's really nice. That kinda relates to, I always tell you about this because beside my bed, I've got like a little notepad, and like when I'm in the mood to sit down and write in it, I do. And I write where I want to be in 5 years and all these random things that I just journal sometimes when I'm in the mood to do that. And I always put the date on them, and I love looking back like every now and then. Especially, I suppose it's usually like now, if Lewis is away, I'll like pick up the little journal, look in it, flick through, and I'm like, oh, 2 months ago, I said I wanted to do X, Y, and Z, and I've done them all. Or 6 months ago, or last year, or 2 years ago, I said this was my goal for 5 years, and I've already hit it. Like,
Well, we've just had that moment.
yeah, yeah,
The girl
literally,
from 2 years ago.
yeah. And it's crazy, like because they seem so far away and so big, you kind of forget that that's what you wanted in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, because it
Uh,
becomes your then new normal.
yeah, and I think
Not
that's just
stopping to celebrate it.
yeah, a nice little boost, to see it written down and to feel like, "Oh, I can highlight that or tick it off now and look at the date and realize you're on track almost."
Yeah.
And I think the same resonates 100% with the goal setting and the tracking of it.
Yeah,
Um
making sure that goal setting isn't just, I want to get first in a prelim.
Yeah.
Like, we don't just cover placement goals. Actively, that is guided in there. That it's not
Yeah.
just placement goals. That it's like technique goals or mindset goals. Some of the dancers even have started to go into things that are non-dance related, like
Love
goals
that.
they've got in school and things like that.
Mm,
Which is really nice to see.
yeah. And of course, like, when you, like, are getting used to this system that we use in the Gold Club with the goal setting and, like, you're used to that flow, it sort of becomes a little bit more second nature, and dancers will just apply that in other areas of their life without probably even realizing that they're doing it too.
Yeah, which is really, really nice. They're like, as you say, things that, we're still doing way beyond our dancing lives. And like good life lessons to learn.
Yeah, 100%. So talk us through then, like, the key, like, briefly, um, the key things that you do as you go through the goal setting and what makes that different to, like, what dancers would maybe just do on their own or have done elsewhere.
Okay, so goal setting's about half an hour.
Yeah.
Depending on how chatty everyone is. Sometimes we go over. But yeah, it's about half an hour. Always start with a little check-in with everyone, say hello, it's nice as well because I can see the dancers. So I really like that's a really nice connection we've got. They can either write in the chat box or they can unmute themselves and actually speak to me. Some dancers mix that up. They do whatever's right for them.
Like a bit of both, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of both. Also depends where they are. I had a dancer who was in the car on the way home from dancing the other week. Um,
You feel like you're in there with you're like, "Oh, stand up."
so yeah, we start and this is what I never did as a dancer. We start by looking at the previous month. There's a third thing we do. So
Ding, ding,
next
ding,
goal,
ding, ding.
ding-a-ling-ling. Next goal setting is going to be July. So we'll start by looking at June. So we talk about what did you do to move closer to your big goals? So we talk about big goals, which are like the overarching things. You know, in my dance career, I want to dance to the worlds one day. In my dance career, I want a world medal. You know, them big, big goals we've got. And then we talk about how did we move closer towards them? What were some things that you did really well in the month? Or what were some things that were good about this month? It might be that I went on holiday, or, you know, I spent more time with friends, or it might be dancing related. You know, I made more time to stretch, or I turned up to the morning stretch classes every week. And then what we also do, and they don't like this as much, but it's super important, is then talk about the things that didn't go so well. And I'm always going, please be honest with yourselves. If you're not honest, like, it's not going to work the same. You need to be able to evaluate the good and the not so good as well. You need to, you know, we're not perfect. No one's perfect. There will be things or choices you've made that you think, actually, to be fair, if I'm really honest, I actually, I could have given more effort and stamina, or I could have done this, or I could have warmed up better at pressures. You know, I could have drank more water, especially, you know, it's super hot in England at the moment. We're not used to that. You know, if you're dancing in that, you know, you need to be evaluating things, but they don't particularly like that section as much, but it is so important.
I actually think that's more important than the what went well.
Yeah, it is.
You learn so much more when you are honest with yourself. And sometimes I think, like I've said to dancers, like, be realistic with what you set yourself, because sometimes in the moment we're so excited and I'm going to stretch 5 times a week. And I'm like, right, let's say 3. And if you do 5, you're going to feel wicked, like you're absolutely incredible. And if you do 3, it's still enough to start working towards your goals, and you can still be really proud of yourself. So let's take the optimism, reduce it down a little bit to a realistic level so that you can actually achieve it, because there's nothing worse than setting a goal too big and then just, oh, well, it's not going to work first week.
Yeah, and if you're only stretching once a week or no times a week, 3 times is a massive improvement. Like, that's still an amazing thing to be able to do. You're still, you know, if you add all them minutes up throughout the month, you've probably got hours worth of extra stretching that you weren't doing. But it's so much more realistic. And as you say, if you do 4 or 5, happy days. Like, you know, fantastic. But if you're still doing the 3, that's still better than doing 0 or 1.
Exactly.
It's really good. So you go through that. We evaluate the month before, then we bench that and we move on to the month that's coming up. As I say, goal setting's always at the start of the month. Then we look at what are our goals for this month? What are our overarching goals? What are you going to commit to this month that's going to help you reach that goal? So I want higher kicks, where I'm going to commit to doing the kick height challenge in the goal club and taking pictures and stuff like that. So they set their goals. And then what I think is the most important part is we then say, right, what steps do you need to take to make that happen? That's the key that I think lots of people miss. Like, you know, I'm going to drink more water. You know, to do that, I need to take my water bottle to school. But actually, is there other things you need to do? Do you need to maybe fill it up the night before and leave it by the front door?
Do you need to maybe tell mom and ask her to help?
Yeah. I'm going to get up and do my morning stretch class. Well, okay, what do you need to do to make that happen? You might need to go to bed a bit earlier because you're waking up earlier. You need to set an alarm. You might need to tell mum in case you miss your alarm to come and get you. Like, you know, think about what do you need to do to make that happen. I'm going to practice 3 times a week. What do you need to do to make that happen? Do you need to make a schedule? Do you need to put an alarm on your phone? Do you need an accountability partner? Like, you know, that's sometimes I think the key. And then at the end, we always finish off with a monthly mantra or quote or affirmation that they're going to use. So mine the other week was, as we all know, Meg and I are massive, or can be massive overworkers and don't particularly take time to rest. So
know what you were going to say then.
My big thing for May was to go on holiday without my laptop and to actually go on holiday and rest. And I said to the dancers, I'm going to take a photo of my laptop still in my house when I leave. And I put it in the community. And I was like, to all my goal setting dancers, I did actually do it 100%. But like, to make that happen, I needed to do X, Y, and Z. And my little quote or mantra for that month was rest is productive. Like, when I felt the need to do that, that was my little reminder to myself. So we often try and make a quote or reminder or mantra that links to the goal they've just set.
I like that, yeah. And I think having that as well to, like you say, when you probably went to go like, oh no, but do you know what? I'll just put it in the bag anyway. it's like reminding yourself rest is productive.
Yeah.
And having that as almost like a little, like I always talk about the two people on your shoulders. Like you're gonna have one that's like, nah, take the rest, take the rest. The other one's gonna be like, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do that. And it's like having a proactive or a conscious reminder of the voice you should be listening to.
Absolutely, yeah, and then it just brings you back to the goal setting class when you set it and what you'd said, and, then obviously I've taken note of what everyone said, so I'm gonna be asking you the next month whether you did it or not, or whether you didn't do it based on whatever your goal is.
And what about dancers that maybe go in too broad with that goal for that month? How do you feel about that, or how do you navigate or tackle that?
Yeah, so we get this quite a lot, to be fair. Might be, I'm going to work harder. And I'm like, right, okay, so let's make that more specific, shall we? Like, work hard, that doesn't really mean much, work harder. So, like, what is it you're actually going to do? Is it you're going to do one extra practice session? And if so, how long is it going to be? What are you going to focus on? The more specific it is, the better it is, the clearer for your brain it is, and the easier to, measure is as well. The easier to see whether you've done it or not. So I do challenge dancers if they do. Challenge is probably a harsh, strong word, but bit of devil's advocate sometimes. And make them think a little bit more. That I don't just necessarily take their first answer.
Yeah. And I think that also is the key, like having someone there to help you make a goal. Like we've done this, like we did this on Moving Meg on tour, and we did a bit of goal setting and stuff like that. And people are like, I don't really know. And I'm like, right, okay. Then it's like we're there, or you're there monthly to help them to break it down, to help them to create a goal that aligns with what they want, that aligns with what's going on the next month. And having that support and someone to bounce off. Like there's one thing setting them, there's another thing tracking them, there's another thing checking in on them a month later. But then there's also like that initial, okay, where do I even start here?
Yeah, and
that's
sometimes you get it that I go, well, why is that your goal? Is that your goal because that's what you feel like you expected to say? You've recalled, so now I'm going to say it's a world medal. Well, actually, what is the why behind your goal as well? Like, why have you said that? Is that really what you want? Or do you just think, well, that's what everyone
the
says?
next thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I've gone to the nationals now and I didn't recall. So I'm just going to say I'll recall. That'll be my goal. When actually there's no real thought or want or whatever behind it.
It's got to have an emotional connection and a reason why, doesn't it?
100%. Because,
A goal with a why.
it might be to recall, but actually, if it's more important right now that you really want to get your kicks high, you want that to be like your standout thing, for example. Well, let's forget about recalling for now. Let's come and focus on this instead.
Yeah. And I think sometimes, like, when you know the why, it makes everything easier. I just think my natural link there is like when you've got to save money for something, saving money for an emergency fund, like, nah. Saving money to go on holiday,
It's a different
you've got a why. And that why, when you go to spend that money and you think, oh, I could put it in the pot instead, the why brings you to put it in the pot rather than to spend it.
Yeah.
That's exactly the same as.
And you'll remember this, and I remember it clearly, saving to buy my apartment and buy your house. Like when you had, and especially I have a Monzo account with all the little pots. Like whether you spend it or whether you put that money in your house pot and you see the percentage go up. Like, it does feel better than maybe the new top or the new dress.
100%, yeah. That's when the link to that why is so, so valuable.
Yeah.
And then, so what do you think in terms of like the hardest thing for dancers that you come across? Like the hardest thing in the goal setting session for dancers? I know you kind of touched upon it, but over the whole thing that you coach them through, what's the hardest thing, or what do you think the thing that dancers struggle with the most is?
I'm stuck between two. It would be the being honest with themselves and evaluating what necessarily they didn't do particularly well.
Yeah.
And also being specific.
Yeah.
About their goals. They're definitely two of the ones that we see coming up mostly. Everyone's super chatty talking about what they did well, and then suddenly it goes a little bit quiet, and I'm like, I'm not moving on. Like I do my own as well as we're going through it. So I'll say what I've done well and what I haven't done well in the months as well. I can't expect them to sit there and be honest if I'm not going to be. So it's a two-way street. And I also go through it as well at the same time, so they feel comfortable enough to, and also I think it's really important when me and you are up here doing classes and stuff, like, to be honest and open and be like, yeah, we're not perfect, we do things that aren't so great, like, and I think sometimes as a child you just think adults kind of have it all sorted, oh, move with Meg's, like, Meg does everything perfectly, and you're really good at being like, I'm really behind, or, saying about overworking and stuff like that. Like, I think it's really good, that honesty as well. But yeah, they're definitely two of the things dancers struggle with the most, is the honesty and being specific.
And all of that kind of links very nicely and closely with my correction clinic. So your like goal setting monthly in the Gold Club kind of aligns with my correction
I
clinic.
love your correction clinic. I think it's brilliant.
It is cool, isn't it? And in the way that, do you know what? It's so funny. Nearly everyone we had it this week. Nearly everybody's was turnout, and I'm like, right, come on, guys, now. But I think the most important thing about that is there was like 9 dancers, 10 dancers. Probably 7 of them spoke to me about their turnout. I pretty much told them all to do something different.
Yeah.
And all of their whys was different. And that's why we always go through the what, why, how. Like, what is turnout? But why are you struggling with that, and breaking that down and helping them to understand it, and then the how. So each of those dancers got a different target. And in the same way that you do, like, check in, I'm like, right, I want you to, your measurement, how you're going to measure this is taking a photo in this position, doing this class, and this class, but your measurement is this movement. I want a picture in the progress party section of the community every week. And if in 2 weeks' time I come and I don't see that, and I was like, tag me, they'd have to tag me. If I don't see you, you'll be getting a direct message from me, and we hold them accountable in that way. They have to want to do it themselves, but at the same time, sometimes you just need to know someone's, and I think I set this up because I'm very much that person. If someone's standing over my shoulder, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And I'll get it done. That's why I need people like Annabelle to come and sit in my house and make sure I do jobs. Like, it's so weird. And that's like why, like, I'm a personal trainer, but I go and be coached, because otherwise I'd just be like, oh, I'll do it another day. Like, that's just my personality. And I think that's kind of, just debriefing here, going off the rails as usual. I think that comes from being at dance class where I was in quite a small school and I was kind of handheld the whole time. And I think that probably relates to now how I work, because I was sort of handheld through that process, and that was such a formative process in my life. That's kind of the way I am. But anyway, diving out of my deeper psychology.
Therapy with Meg.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, I feel like we've kind of touched upon everything there. If you had to give dancers 2 to 3 key things to do today in terms of setting goals, but not like the actual setting, but like making sure that it's effective for them, what would you give 2 or 3?
I would say, think about your why behind your goal. Don't just say it because Meg said set a goal, so I'm just going to say okay and then write anything down. Like, it needs to be something you really, really want. Be really, really specific.
Yes.
And I think the third thing would be, make sure you found a way to measure or track it. Like, don't just sit down once a month and be like, okay, goal set and tick. And off we go then. And we don't actually then implement it throughout the months. Find a way to measure it. As you said, with that correction clinic, you give them a move and that's their measurement.
Yeah.
For that, find a way to measure what you're doing and then celebrate it when you achieve it.
Yes, we love a celebration. My champagne's in the fridge for hitting 300 members in the Gold Club, which has been a goal, like you said earlier, Annabelle, for about 2 years, really. That number has been like, that's where I want to be. That's where I want to be. And how many times, I probably haven't even mentioned that since I set it, have I?
No, probably not.
Not like really specifically. And how many times have I probably been a bit disheartened or, fell off the wagon with it,
Yeah, 100%. It's been a journey for the last 2 years.
It has. And I think I've really fell in love with the Gold Club myself in this process of, like, I do love it. And I absolutely love, like, the community and all of that side of things. And really makes my day when I see, as I always say, people sharing their worries rather than their wins, because that's when you know you're giving them a safe space and a supported space. But yeah, I've really, really fell back in love with it, and I want to keep making it better. And
Yeah, I
it's so
think
good.
the whole process of like us, we've had to go back and look at everything to make it better for the 2.0. I think during that process, and it took us a while to actually implement it, was a lot of stuff on there. I think during that and us looking back, again, as we're doing goal setting, we look back, like actually really did reignite
How
something.
far, yeah, and also see how far we've come.
Yeah, we've come really far.
But again, as I said in my stories sort of this week on social media, like, it also highlights that, like, we're just on the same path as you guys, and what we're teaching you is what we're actually doing ourselves. Like, we're being consistent, we're ticking away at it, we're setting smaller monthly goals, we are checking in with them, we're seeing what went well. Like, we are genuinely doing all of those things for what we're doing in our business and life, but together within the business, and it's just so nice when it comes together and you get to celebrate it.
Yeah, and
Uh,
just like I go through goal setting alongside all the dancers.
yeah,
Although I'm there to guide, like I'm also doing it with yous.
yes,
We're also
yeah,
doing it together. Like when you say when you teach stretch classes, like it actually helps you stretch.
100%. Yeah, it gives me the accountability that I need to stretch each day.
Yeah.
And again, like, thinking about that and talking to parents a lot more now where we're at, and having sort of space for them inside a lot of our sort of containers, especially the Move of Meg Fest, but like also like the parents' Facebook group and stuff like that. Like, why don't parents sit down and do this, or sit down and do this as a family? Like, get the Move of Meg Gold Club goal setting on and all sit down and do it. Like, there's no reason why you can't be doing it too for yourself. And then that highlights to dancers, wow, this is really powerful. Like, whoa, like my mom's doing it, or dad's doing it, or,
Yeah. And then it's nice, then you can all celebrate as a family. Like
yeah,
when you achieve that thing,
yeah,
it's not just like, oh, the dancer's got better turnout or something. It's like, yeah, but mum's done this in work, or dad's done this, or your brother's done this. Yeah. And then everyone can celebrate round the dinner table, whatever. Like when everyone's, it might be someone's week off, like they've had a really good week and hit their goal. And then
yeah.
also it might be someone's week of, oh, they fell off a little bit of consistency. And how can we help them as a family get back
Mhm.
on track? And I think that'll probably just help that communication as well.
Yeah, and rather than it be like, you haven't done any dancing, you haven't done any stretching, so that's it. We're not going to dancing this week because you're not putting the work in it. It's like, okay, well, why do you feel like you haven't done that this week? Like, what can I do to help you? Or like, like, use your ears, 2 ears and 1 mouth. I mean, I'm still working on that one because I'm a gobby. Sometimes Lewis is talking and he's like, "Will you just let me finish?" I'm like, "Sorry." Help. I'm like, "Come on, skip to the good bit." Um, I just had a song ringing around my ears then. Can we skip to the good bit? But yeah, I think having that and doing it together opens up a space for like a little bit more listening and understanding why they might not have done it, rather than just, well, you say you want this, but you're not doing. And I feel personally victimized by that one.
Put your hands
Because
up if you've been victimized by Regina George.
yes, because I do feel like that was me. It's like, well, if you don't want to practice at home, then that's it. We're not going to dance class. And it's like, right, there's so much more to it and so many more layers to it, to me not wanting to.
Yeah.
It's like, I just didn't know what to practice, or I didn't, um, or like I was exhausted, or I didn't feel like I could do it on my own and I needed somebody to just be in the room, or, like all of those things. If I was asked and listened to, I probably would have practiced way more often.
And not just put your heavy shoes on your hands.
Exactly. You love that one.
I
You
love
keep
that story.
so yeah, that's a picture and an image for you guys. If
Back,
my mum was in the room, I would have danced.
back to therapy with Meg.
Yeah, that's it. Uh, but yeah, hopefully you've learned something from that. It's nice to even just talk about it. Makes me want to go and do some goal setting now.
And anything else
Um,
to be fair, it does.
but yeah, your goal setting session is in the Gold Club when?
Monday, is it the 6th? 7th. Monday the 7th.
Nice. At
6 o'clock.
6 p.m. UK
UK
time.
time.
So If you are not based in the UK and you want to get involved, then you can always watch it back, or you can watch a previous one right now if you go and head into the members club section.
Yeah, it's in the live calls.
Section. You'll be able to scroll across and find it. And if you are not a Gold Club member and you want to be, I will pop the link in the show notes. It is £39 a month. Or if you really want to highlight to your dancer that consistency is key, you can purchase 6 month subscription or a year subscription, which makes it cheaper for you. But at the same time, you're sort of like showing the dancer you don't expect them to make a huge difference in 1 month. You're actually showing them, right, I trust in this process. You're going to have it for this amount of time. Let's see what difference you can make. And then showing them that it's about consistently doing things rather than here's a month and if it's not working, we're going to cancel. Although I do also understand sometimes that is the case. But yeah, I think those bigger subscriptions are actually a really good way of supporting your dancer subconsciously without them really realizing it and you really realizing it. So yeah.
Yeah, good.
I'll pop those links, or I'll pop the link to the Gold Club down below, and be sure to join Annabelle on her next goal setting session.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing some new names.
Yay, that's what we like. Well, thank you for joining as always, Annabelle.
Thank you for having me.
And I will be back with another episode very soon. We've got a solo episode next week, and then myself and Annabelle will be back again.
We will be back. We've got an exciting one, actually.
We do. We've got some cool ones coming up, which we're super excited for. And just before we go, we're about a month away now from the Move with Meg Fest. So ticket prices are going up on the 17th of July. Yeah, which is how many weeks from this date? 2 weeks' time. So if you are considering it, tickets are selling fast. You'll need to get bought before that price goes up, because otherwise you'll be paying more for the sake of what? Another 2 weeks of it in your bank account. So get booked in. I will pop the link in the show notes there if you want some more information for that in August in Belfast. We can't wait to see you there. Thank you for joining.
Have a lovely
day, Annabelle, and I'll see you very soon.
See you soon.
Thank you for listening to Meg Talks. Don't forget to share your favourite parts of the episode and tag us on Instagram at MoveWithMeg with 2 Gs. And as a special treat, head to movewithmeg.co.uk/Fest Day Warmup to access your free video. See you next time.